Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
Another episode of Trash Talk. I am Damian Hill. With me, as always, is TJ O'Connor. Tonight, we are joined by Dylan Smerillo, who is just coming off of a very impressive win for a title, mind you, out in Iowa. And before we get into that, we are brought to you again by some sponsors. We are in the middle of negotiating all of that stuff, so there you go. How are you doing tonight, Dylan?
Shit, man, no complaints. Doing good. Training's going good. So, yeah, no complaints from me.
Yeah, okay. So I actually still have not had a chance to watch the video of your fight. I don't know if you could just walk us through and walk the people who haven't seen the fight, walk us through the performance and through the victory.
Yeah, man. So I was supposed to fight this kid named Brock Hammer, and that was because I had like an 8-week camp in total, because I fought last time February 12th, and then we found out like a week later that they offered us May 7th. And so for the first 4 weeks, I was supposed to fight Brock Hammer. He was coming off a win too. But he's predominantly a wrestler, shoots in really hard. So we were expecting a wrestler, and then 4 weeks in, he actually, this is kind of crazy because it's true, he got hit with a tree branch. I don't know if he works for just like a limbing company or like he works for a landscaping company, but he actually got hit in the face by a tree branch, got a concussion, things like a broken nose, something got broken. Actually messed him up pretty good, so if there's any excuse not to fight, he had a great one. But so he was a tough opponent, so we were excited for that fight. But then we got offered this kid. I call all these dudes kids. I have no idea how fucking old they are. They could be 5 years older than me. I have no idea. But we get offered this dude, and he's from Iowa. He had a couple MMA fights already, right around the same amount I had. But he had done a lot of kickboxing, and we had seen, because he's a really tall kid, so he just kind of he likes to stick behind his jab, likes to circle the cage. He's not really fighting for the center, and he gets bladed a lot. And so we were just like, well, you know what, fuck it. We won't change too much up, but let's grapple this kid. So instead of working on defending takedowns, let's try and get into some body locks, trying to get inside because we don't want him to keep that distance. And my coach is really amped up about finishing it on the ground because and I don't got anything against the guy. I don't think he was really necessarily talking shit, but I think he was just posting things on Facebook to hype himself up or I don't know. It was a very weird, I've never had this kind of awkward encounter with opponent just with some of the shit he was saying on Facebook. Because he posted underneath, like when we got tagged, he said like, if we strike, it's going to be a war. And if we grapple, it'll be boring. And my coach was just like, all right, well, I guess, boring is getting slammed on your face, getting your arm ripped off, getting choked. Like, I guess he thinks that's boring. So fuck it. So my coach was all about it. He was like, thank God. I'm glad we get to take this kid down. And literally, we just worked on as soon as we throw a leg kick, step in, get into the body lock, get your head in his chest, and take him to the ground. And right up, I kicked his first jab, went for it again, stepped in, picked him up, got a really big slam. I don't think he hit his head, but it just put my shoulder right into his stomach, probably in the first 30 seconds. He was holding on to my head and circled him into the cage, hopped right in the side in the full mount, and just pounded him out. And I guess, it wasn't a TKO though. It ended up being a verbal submission because I guess the dude actually, after I got my right hand out finally, because he was holding on to it as tight as he could, and I started dropping bombs on his eye. He yelled, I think he yelled stop, and then he yelled tap. So the ref really didn't know what was going on either. But so yeah, it was a fight.
Wow. Okay. So I got a two-parter question for you right now. Well, one, is this how you are? I mean, I guess I'm making the question up as I go, but did you expect any trash talk from your opponent? And then once you seen that he was trash talking you a little bit, or however you wanted to take it in, did that motivate you more? Did it distract you at all? Or did it just, like you said with your coach, make you, it obviously amplified him a little bit. Did it just make you want to go out there and just prove him right, your coach, I mean?
I went out there meaning business. You know, that's kind of what it was for me, is because I was, you know, I trained so hard and I work full time, you know, and I'm married, you know, so, you know, that changes how you spend your time, right? You know, you got to spend a lot of time with your wife too, and you got to figure out your schedule, right? And she's all about the fighting thing. She really is. You know, she started dating me when I was younger and I was doing this, and so she's used to it. But you know, you got to figure that in too, you know, because you got to help her around the house, you got to make meals, you got to do all that stuff as well. And so I train really fucking hard, and it's 6 days a week, and I'm doing one-on-ones with my coach, and you know, we're drilling the specific things we want to do, and then we're sparring, going to class, lifting weights. So for me, that's what amped me up, is like, you think this is a game, because if you got into a war with me, you're going to get more hurt. That's all that means. That doesn't mean that it's a better fight. That means you get more hurt because we're not getting paid, which means if I finish you in a minute and I get to fight again in a month, bro, I won. That's the best win you can get, you know? So I was just like, let's go in there and let's finish him fast, because he thinks this is a game, you know, and it's not a game.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you said that. Okay, so was going through your mind going into the fight?
Exactly. Oh yeah, all the way into the fight. Yeah, all the way into that cage. Because you know, even when I got into that cage, you know, he kind of did. And I don't know. This is one thing that always bothers me when motherfuckers do this, man. Like, okay, John Jones can crawl up those fucking stairs. You crawl up those stairs, I want to slap you, bro. Or you know, like Conor McGregor, you know, he wants to do that little squat thing. He wants to do that. Bad fucking ass, bro. People go nuts. But when you do it, dude, I don't know, man. He did that shit, and I literally looked at him and I said, "Let's go." Because I just was like, dude, I anything you throw at me, it's not gonna do nothing.
I love it. And that just shows your mindset going into the fight, you know, supreme confidence. And it's one of those things where, you know, a guy goes, oh, yeah, you know, if we strike, it'll be crazy. If we go to the ground, it's going to be boring. But it's like, oh, okay, well, clearly, you know, this guy doesn't want it to go to the ground. I mean, you couldn't show your cards worse in the game of poker. So have confidence. And this is your fifth fight now coming into it. And what's crazy is you mentioned, you know, your opponent's from Iowa. You're fighting down in Iowa. All your fights have been in this cage. That's more of where, you know, your promotion in the sense that where you have the experience there. How different is that, knowing that it might be his backyard, but you're playing with your tools?
I'm actually really glad you said that, because you know you know, big shout out to Rick Taylor, because it's awesome getting these opportunities from him. He runs a great promotion. He runs a tight ship. Dude still got it too. He's, you know, he always says he's old. He's still got it though. I like the way I like the way he treats, you know, people giving him bullshit. You know what I mean? He doesn't take nothing. So shout out to him, man. But I like being down there, because what I've noticed is that people down there now get excited when I fight. You know what I mean? It's some of the same people coming up to me after the fight saying, "Hey man, you know, great fight. That was awesome. You know, we saw you last time." And people that I've, you know, only have met because of fighting there, you know. And so it's actually pretty cool, because especially this time around, people were amped up, you know, people were cheering when I was coming out, and that's pretty cool.
No, definitely. And getting that experience being down there, that's awesome to hear. And then now bringing it back, we kind of talked about it a little bit before we started recording, but a bit of a quick turnaround for you here. You already got something lined up. Why don't you let us know about that and how the fans can watch that fight?
Yeah, so that's June 25th for Midwest Cage Championship, and that's also part owned by Rick Taylor. That fight is it's going to be in Des Moines, the actual city of Des Moines, the Valor Ballroom. I've never fought in this venue. I fought close to Des Moines because of the TBA kickboxing tournament, so I'm kind of used to the area a little bit. But and so that's going to be a fun one, because the Valor Ballroom is a bigger venue. For one, it's more of like an actual kind of arena. More people in the seats, and they do have a link to watch. And the cool part about this is, so that people will get a link to be able to watch. There's gonna be more eyes on us when we're in the arena. But I got a really, really tough opponent. Michael. Oh fuck, dude! I just had it. Michael something. I'll think of it in a little bit. I literally just had it. That's so funny. But he's a kid from, I believe, I don't know if he fights out of Pura Vida. I don't think he does. But one of those gyms around there. But he's had 11 fights. I don't know what his exact record is, but he's had 11 fights. He looks like he's in his early 20s. Looks like he's a bit of a younger kid. And we're going to end up being the amateur main event, which is awesome. So we'll be right before the pro card. Hopefully, a lot more people will be in the stadium then. But so yeah, there will be a link. They have a Facebook profile or Facebook page, so everyone can go and check them out, and the link will be on there.
Yeah, well, I will be sure to add the link to the description of the interview and all of that. And I guess going into this fight, you're going against a guy with a little bit of depth in his record, even for being a younger guy. But also, you just got done winning a title in the first round, but also training for a 5-round fight. How does that confidence go into this next fight with you? And has the motion even stopped with that quick victory after training for a long time, getting ready for a title? How do you feel you're going to be prepared in this next fight?
The one thing though about Rick's and Michael Boylan, that's the fucking name, Michael Boylan. Reason why I was like that, I feel like they definitely have had to have heard of him because he's got a pretty good record. I was actually supposed to fight him last year, and I can't remember exactly what happened. It was something on my end, but
no, I'm joking.
What was you about to say?
I said probably something with COVID.
Right. Probably, honestly, maybe something like that.
Bad words.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so he's got a really good record. He's pretty well known. I think I've seen clips of him on like the Midwest MMA Facebook group. That I don't even know if that's the right name, but no, I think leading up to the fight, because I've had this title fight, it will help a lot just in the sense that I was preparing for that speed. It's kind of nice when you've been it, because you really can't spar 100%. You know what I mean? You can spar kind of close, but it's not really that smart. You don't want to do it that often. So it's kind of nice when you get into a fight like this where you still had to go full speed, but you came out of it clean. And so, having the training camp beforehand and then now going right back into a training camp where, we're just right back in 6th gear. It's I think it's going to make a big difference.
Oh yeah. Sorry, TJ. It looked like you were about to say something, so I stopped. Sorry.
Well, I know I will. No, I love it, and that just goes to show your experience coming through, being able to go through all these things. And Michael's a good guy, a good wrestler. How do you, knowing that you prepared for a good wrestler this fight, even though necessarily that's not the guy you faced, is that something that you can use to roll into this game plan as well?
Yeah, definitely. But he is southpaw, and you do see him switch. But this is the first time. I have a lot of southpaw guys in my gym. But this will be the first time I've actually fought a southpaw, like a predominantly someone who's going to stay in that most of the time. And so it does mix it up a little bit as far as, what takedowns we're worried about. And he's a good striker too. I mean, he's got good striking, he sets things up. He doesn't keep it, he's not someone that obviously just keeps his chin up in the air and shit like that. And so it really is just kind of pushing our game plan against him because he's going to shoot takedowns. I like to shoot takedowns too. And I like to grapple a little bit. That wasn't shown in my first couple of fights, but recently I've been able to show that, I get TKOs on the ground and can pick people up. And so, we're just really forcing our game plan and making sure that we don't let him, for one, get easy takedowns because he might get one, and that just means we got to work our way up. And it just means that we can't let him get his rhythm on his feet because he's going to use once he gets a rhythm on his feet, then we got more takedowns coming. So nothing really specific, but it does help that I was thinking about takedown defense, prior to this already.
Yeah. I mean, well, obviously MMA, take in all aspects of fighting, every single bit from every single martial art. And then on top of that, you have what people just kind of make up on the spot. We've all seen it. If you're a fan of martial arts or you are a martial artist yourself, you've definitely seen it where people just make things up on the spot. So I guess with all of that and you having a game plan, or as you said it, is that something that you normally do where you look at what they can do well and where they're bad at, what you do well and where you might struggle at, where you can put them in the best position to finish? Or do you kind of sometimes just want to fight and just see how it goes? Or do you always think of it as strategically as you are right now?
It's strategic, but the way we think about our game plans is like we got to make this guy do what we want him to do. So, okay, great. he's gonna, a good wrestler and he's gonna take us down, right? Well, if we're gonna try and maybe, work, like if we're gonna try and get him into the clinch then, or if we're gonna sprawl, go for knees, whatever, it's gonna happen afterwards. If he doesn't wrestle, and your game plan was to, land some shots out, off of a wrestling exchange, or to, maybe get him to shoot in so that you can go for submissions, right? Whatever. If he doesn't wrestle you and he outstrikes you, you just lost the fucking fight. So it's really, how are we going to make him shoot for bad takedowns? How are we going to make him move the way we want him to move? And so we do go in there strategically, but it's things that we're just working on that to be smart, so that I can just go in there and fight, because I've built in the responses, I've built in the correct reactions, for this opponent. And then we just go in there and fight and, stay focused. And I listen to, the good thing about my coach, he knows how to be a good cornerman. Like we've all seen that meme recently where it's like, get up, get up, get up. You know what I mean? It's fucking, it kills me. It kills me. Dude, I've had, when you got people in the crowd, even like even people in your corner, like, Dylan, get up, Dylan, get up. It's like you want to stop the fight. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, I know I got to get up. You know what I mean? I'm trying.
Have you ever heard me as a fan at the fights where I'm not cornering anybody, I'm just sitting in the crowd? I will literally yell out every like 2 minutes, if nothing's going on, punch him in the face, or literally, like if somebody's in a bad position, like and it's not necessarily to be a dick, it's to get the crowd more involved a little bit, but also it's kind of funny to me, but I'll yell out, do that one move. There's been at least 3 times where I've yelled out, do that one move from the crowd, and somebody's either done a reversal and gotten back up right when I said it, or did it like a Superman punch or something, and it just made me look cool. But but the thing is like, yes, you do hear those stupid cornerman advice sometimes.
In high
I'm
level,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. Like, but it's like, even in high level fights, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Level fights. And so my coach just doesn't do that shit. I listen to him because, he's trying to get me to do the right thing. He's not just like yelling out, get your hands up, or, throw this. It's like, all right, well, if I need Dylan to get his fucking hands up, like, I'm going to tell him to throw some teeps, because then he's going to, lean back, hopefully put his hand, like, he'll try to do shit like that and it works, so I listen to him. And so that's what keeps me calm enough where I'm thinking and I'm setting shit up and sticking to the game plan, even though I'm fighting, is I'm sitting there going, okay, but, I want to fight, but my coach he's giving me the tools, I trust him to know he's giving me the tools. So use those tools and listen to him and everything will be good. Oh,
hell yeah. We love that shit. I mean, sorry, it looked like TJ had something to say, but like, this is going to be my last question. I'm just like, okay, so you were training for a title fight. It ended in the first round. Now, does it feel like the more you train, or like not the more you train, but the more you train for a longer amount of time, do you feel like that leads to quicker finishes in a sense? Not necessarily from the experiences that you had, but just like as a whole, like it's my theory of MMA. I'm not exactly sure. I just kind of want to see how you feel about it.
I think so. And I think it leads you to be focused on how is the best way to finish this dude, because there's ways to finish dudes and there's ways that are not that you can't, but you got a lot tougher road to get in there. You know what I mean? And the obvious one is, you're obviously not going to take down a black belt and try and choke him out if he's a lot better in the ground than you. You know what I mean? That's not the easiest way to finish him. But the easiest way might not be to knock him out. You know what I mean? But the easiest way to finish him might be you need to try and get into some wrestling exchanges, tire him out, because he's great on the ground, doesn't got a lot of cardio, and then you can start to get your hands going, do this, do that, right? And so I just think it leads to you successfully getting the finish that you knew was going to be there. As long as you forced him to do what you wanted him to do, or what you thought he was bad at. And if you're going to force him to do what he's bad at and he does it, and you know how to capitalize it, I think that's what leads to those fights being quicker, because you're drilling those. I like when people call them responses, not reactions. You're building those responses, and I just think that you've just built them. They're there so much that as long as you can execute them, the fight it goes your way.
Dude, I love the answer. I was just curious. That was it for me. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
did
No, I
TJ
appreciate it.
freeze? I think TJ's screen might have frozen actually right now. I
Yeah.
am really, really sorry about this to people watching. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Now I was gonna send this over to TJ because I thought he had a question, but I guess before we start to wrap this up, can we go over how people are able to watch, where the fight is gonna be, who you're facing, and all of that?
Yeah, and I'll when this video gets posted too, I'll make sure to kind of I'll comment underneath it as well,
Yep.
because I'll actually copy the link, but I'm pretty sure, like 99% sure that there is a link for this, because I know they've done it in the past for the MCC fights.
Okay.
So I will post that link. But yeah, June 25th, Val Air Ballroom in Des Moines, Iowa is where it's taking place. We're back.
There we go. There we go.
I don't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. No, we're just going over the fight details for June 25th. And so yeah, me and Michael Boylan, amateur main event, man. I think it's gonna be a good fight. You know, he's got a lot of experience. All my wins are by finish. I think it's gonna be a great fight. I'm excited, man. I get jacked up thinking about it.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, and I feel the same way. And that's what pissed me off, that my computer froze, because I had a great. I was talking when I realized I froze. I loved how effortlessly you explained, how your mindset about how these things, and I love how the way you're able to articulate your thoughts on it, and then you take into consideration your fights, like you said, 4 wins, 4 finishes. You haven't seen a second break yet in a fight. You know what I mean? Like, you go into these fights and there's action there to be seen, and then when you know that there's a system behind the madness as well, it's a beautiful thing to see. You're young, you're getting the experience. June 25th, you better be there. B Square, Des Moines, Iowa.
Oh, yeah.
Dylan Smerillo versus Michael Boylan. It's the main event of the amateur portion of the card. I'm just ranting here. Damien, send him away.
Oh, like this video, subscribe to Trash Talk with Damien and TJ, and do not be a hoe.